Kaduna's lyrical storyteller, Not Fair, is back with Storytime Season 2. I think this one is a 9-track cinematic experience that to me I call raw, relatable, and unapologetically Nigerian. And he dropped this one, I think 10th July 2025. And I must say that if his first EP, he dropped this EP, I think it was 2024, and he called that one Storytime the EP. So this is more like a sequel to the first EP, right? And so if you listen to that first EP, I'll tell you for real that if his first EP was a teaser, then this album, to me, I call it a full-blown blockbuster. I mean, let me dissect it for you track by track, and so you go check it out and see if for real what I say is true. And I'll tell you that this might be one of the most important indie projects out of Kaduna State and out of even Nigeria itself. Storytime Season 2. And if you're looking for the EP, just type Not Fair on any of your preferred platforms and you check it out. As usual, I'll tell you for real, Not Fair's pen game has always been good and his theme has been bold. This one is a 9-track album. The first called The Violin. The second one, he called it Hypocritical World. The third one, he titled it Adi. The fourth one, he titled it Old Taker. Old Taker, yes. If you're conversant with Yahoo, the fraud thing in Nigeria and across Africa, you know what it means by Old Taker. And then the fifth track, he titled it John Don't Join Cults, meaning join as join cult. And number 6, Ghetto. Number 7, Tribalism. And number 8, Tales of Amaka. Number 9, Street Code. In Hypocritical World, it featured Young C. And Hypocritical World, a very dope track. I'll get to it. He also had Young C also on another track. I think it's John Don't Join Cult. Featured B.O.C. Madaki also on Ghetto. And he had Naughty Josh on Tales of Amaka, and they killed it. They did justice. And then the last track, Street Code, dope. It was a good finishing, and I like the closing. And yeah, you look very well. You see that the theme of the album, he talked about tribalism, crime consequences. I like the consequential side. When you tell stories, you have to give back and try to show people that every action has consequences. And he showed everything. When it came to the story of the friend betrayal, so he talked about tribalism. I think that one, he featured Lil Babs, crime consequences, lost love, and even societal hypocrisy. I think that's where he captured it in his track, Hypocritical World. And the album is, to me, it's like a mirror. It's like Not Fair held a mirror up to Nigeria's struggles, and various other social intricacies. And in a way, he didn't just only hold the mirror. He himself, he wasn't afraid to crack it, to show us the broken pieces. And so that's very commendable. And I think it's not just in this album. He has been doing it even in previous album, and I'm sure it's something he will continue to do in subsequent albums. So yeah, here's what my track by track analysis. The violin, I mean, he had this smooth, wonderful violin instrumental play, and then he had his closing line, and he talked about the beauty of the violin and how a lot of people may not realize the beauty of violin when it comes to the instruments. It's like he romanticized that violin as a metaphor for overlooked beauty in chaos. You need to listen to it and tell it. That's the opening line and the opening song in that album. For me, I just see like turning an instrument into a character, like the violin is like that silent hero in a movie, something like that is how I see it. And I like it, and I enjoy the instrumental, I listen to it, and I really, really love it. It's dope. Big shout out to you, Not Fair, big shout out to you. And then the second track, Hypocritical World, where he had Young C on this one, I compare it to Fowles' song, that Fowles song, Everybody is a motherfucking hypocrite. So that track where he had, I think Fowles featured Demi V on that track, and then it was more like the same thing, yes, because just like Fowles emphasized on hypocrite, same way, Not Fair also was, hitting it raw, and he was playing, like I said, he wasn't afraid to crack that mirror to show us how broken it is. And so he featured Young C, while Fowles featured Demi V. He had Young C kill the chorus. A big shout out to Young C, man. Dope hook. It's dope. I like it. Not Fair, he did justice to it. Same thing, but more like Not Fair expanded more on the things that Fowles himself didn't touch within his own track. And then he kind of give it a context, given the environment where he resides, where he lives in, the northern area, Nigeria itself, and all. Not very focused on the everyday societal double standards that he has observed and experienced firsthand. It's more like saying church on Sunday, fraud by Monday, So which one is your real holy day? So I really like it. I really like it's a dope one. And then the third track he called Paddy. Paddy Not Fair tells the story of a dude who survives from running transportation with his bike until he eventually met his deadly end after encountering a friend who ultimately killed him after boarding his bike. It's such a tragic event, and these things happen every day, which is why I like the album. It captured relatable events, things that happen every day. If you listen to crime scenes, if you listen to the news, every single day we hear stories like this, even from daily gossips on Facebook and everywhere. The blogs carry incidences like this, close people betraying you, and it oftentimes happens unexpectedly. The fourth track he called Old Taker. Old Taker would imply, more like a Yahoo boy, you know what I mean by Yahoo boy, like fraudsters, The Yahoo boys rise and fall. And the Yahoo boy at one period in time was lucky, will I call it luck? Fine, was lucky, made money, successfully duped someone, made money, and then lived a lavish life, where he had the lavish cars, and then later on moved to an empty pocket. So you have money today, tomorrow you broke. Lavish cars, empty pockets, and then what eventually happens? Regret. So the moral lesson there, which I like about Not Fair, is that he's a consequential writer. When he writes, he shows you the consequences of actions and of events, how they turned out. So the moral lesson isn't just the preachy, churchy type of thing. It's more like a cautionary tale wrapped in a catchy hook. So it's a dope one. John don't join cult. This implies that John has finally joined the confraternity. And so in this one, it still featured Young C. On this one, it's more like a plot twist where the protagonist kills his own friend to hide his crimes. John eventually more like a good dude, and then later on joined cult, and then probably in an armed robbery case, and then his friend happened to spot him, during the armed robbery event, and before he could know it, John just the guy. And so it's more like maybe peer pressure, poverty, tragedy. That's just how I see it. Peer pressure equals to poverty equals to tragedy. And then you see the tragic demise. Ghetto featuring BOC Madaki. It's a standout feature. And as always, BOC is a dope rapper, a dope writer. And his verse just give us that painting of the ghetto, both as a home and a prison, because he explained, when you listen to it very well, you could tell that yes, he was a product of the ghetto, and just like many of us who are products of the slummy areas, same as him, that you witness this unsanitary environment, this unhygienic environment, and you get to witness it every day, and then it's like we don't even dream about when we're going to ever live there. So it's a everyday struggle. And so it's more like if you've ever bought pure water with torn notes, and this song is more like a your life soundtrack. It's dope. And Not Fair killed the hook, and after BOC's rap, he just came in and he cemented the whole thing. So it's dope. Tribal War, I call it my most favorite track on the album. I like it. Like the story, the story is something that happens every day that barely anyone talks about. It's like exogamy, which has always been in existence. All of a sudden, when it comes to certain tribes, it's something that is often not allowed or often disallowed. And it talks about the story of a boy called Bola and then a girl, and Hausa girl, and the two consummated lovers but destroyed by tribalism. So the both of them were disallowed from being with each other, just not for any reason, but simply because of the tribal differences. So Not Fair and Libabs, they didn't just rap. It was more like they documented a real Nigerian sickness, and I don't want to call it any kind of sickness. Maybe if I have to attribute it to some like diabetes or something incurable, but let's hope, because time oftentimes fix things. Maybe, with his own song being, I don't know if I've listened to any track that actually documented these tribal differences, this tribal war. And his song is more like the first that I've had, honestly. has captured this, especially relating from the Hausa tribe. If you're in Nigeria, you know what I mean, and you can tell that it's oftentimes very difficult to be with someone from that tribe due to the tribal differences as well as in most cases the religious differences. So maybe this one might begin to open the floor, for more discussions and more dialogue on this particular issue. Tales of Amaka. Yeah, we had this spoken word type from Naughty Josh, and he gave his own spoken word over this haunting piano, and it was more like a woman weeping over her late husband's letter. And the Naughty Josh delivery gave chills. It's dope, big thumbs up, dope one. Street Code is it was the closing track of the album, and it did justice to it. It's just more like a boy, taking on responsibilities that his irresponsible father didn't take on. And so it's more like fatherhood failures that now translates to street survival for this boy. And I call it one of the album's darkest track, and also very honest one. A big thumbs up to you, Not Fair. The production was dope, rich Afro hip-hop blends, the violins, the drums, the piano, all of that, I'm sure that he would also experiment more as time goes on. The features, man, dope. Every artist, Young C, Lil Babs, BOC Madaki, they brought their A game, and yes, they did justice to their tracks, one and all respectively. Not Fair's performance, the lyrics, dope. I could give it 10 over 10 because I'll tell you why. It's simple. I like things that are simple, considering the fact that most writers these days do not put into consideration their listeners, and so most times, we tend to think that our listeners are as intellectually smart as we are, and so it sort of water down the tracks. When Jay-Z said, I dumb down for my audience to double my dollars, and so sort of tone down for the audience so at least they can understand us, which is what Eriga does, which is what Fowles did or still do, other wonderful artists. And same way, Not Fair too has incorporated in his style as usual. And yeah, I like the lyrics. I give it 10 over 10 because I like it. I like that it's just easy. The rhymes are easy to comprehend, and it didn't just focus on rhyming, but it's where they made sense, and which is what is most important to me. You can rhyme from now to tomorrow. If it's not making sense, it's trash. And so it made sense. I like the flow. The flow is dope. His storytelling carries the album. And yeah, everything. Not Fair Storytime Season 2 is a good album, and I'll call it a natural artifact. Yes, I will, because 30 years from now, it should still be one of the most outstanding albums that we should still look back to and say, yeah, Not Fair gave us something, and it's something to, represent the culture in a way. So from the ghetto to the grave, from tribal hate to tragic love, he holds a mic to Nigeria's pulse, and I don't know. Don't think I'm overhyping. I want you to go listen to the album so you can see for yourself. But it's more like he held that mic to Nigeria's, pulse and found a way to let us hear its heartbeat. Is the track perfect? No. Just like every other album, they are not perfect, but they are dope. Very close to perfect, I call it. And yes, is it necessary? Hell yeah. It's a dope one. Very necessary, like water to the body. Check out this album by visiting any of your favorite streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, etc., and type Not Fair. You'll find him right there. I'll be dropping the link to his album in the description below. Do well to listen and drop your honest takes in the comment section. Also, do well to give him a follow on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever it thinks that you use often. And yeah, as usual, big thumbs up to you, Not Fair. I'm super proud of this work. I like it. It's a dope album. Keep putting in the work. This is Great Dave African Entertainment Vlog. Stay safe. Bye for now.